G2 to show up. They are showing up today. Predictions out the window. G2 up 2-0 in the series here with just one more win needed to meet SKT in the finals. My question to you is, how do you explain this, though? Where was this G2, and why have they arrived today?
There's a lot of it to unpack. I think they did tremendous prep during the break, and I think it does start in the draft, even though there's a lot else going on there. I think Team WE is getting heavily outdrafted, and I disagree with a lot of their decisions. Doing the 2 shield bans and then giving away Karma in the first pick, and then early prioritizing Rumble, something that 957 has played 4 games, won once on, in a 171-game career. And then you see that he clearly hadn't practiced it very well because he had terrible plays within the game. Beyond that, though, tons of credit to G2.
And it's pretty surreal because it was kind of, well, these champions are winning for us draft. You got Lee Sin 3-0 this tournament, Talia 3-0 this tournament, 4-1 on the Ashe. The Rumble's the only part that doesn't really make sense in the first round because, I mean, this season's been all about, well, everyone has to be able to play Rumble because Rumble's been a power pick, a pushing top laner in a tank standard lane meta. If you're not a Rumble main, the equalizers, which we will see increasingly this game, aren't there. They aren't getting the same sort of value that we saw from the likes of Huni and others. And the end result was the pick kind of flew in the face of what they were trying to do with the rest of their draft.
Miscues and Champs Life from WE, some great stuff out of G2. I want to now move into the game itself. Beginning of the day, we put a spotlight on the junglers. Condi versus Trick, saying that Condi's got all the tools. We've seen it so far in groups. Will Trick be able to step up? Well, hey, some early jungle pathing here from Condi gives advantages over to Trick.
And not only, you know, the early ward and the vision here from Trick and his improved individual play, but like putting in the time and bringing out the extra champion as well. People were continually pointing at his champion pool, and he was being targeted at multiple phases in the game. Huge props to him stepping up.
Yeah, exactly. We're looking at, okay, we see you on the Ivern. The Lee Sin's not there. Graves is always an option, but the Nunu only kind of, you know, working half the time. We need one more pick out here in 2 games, finding a lot of success in it this time around.
And Olaf's just so different from what he was playing. Again, the Ivern and Nunu were kind of his go-tos. He was playing through the lanes in a way that he wasn't in other matches. As we're going to see a replay, we had some titanic fights this
Yeah, and this was one that if Team W was going to try and make a comeback fight, it would be here. But the equalizer's off point, and really Team WE could never get through the front line. You can see Trick still running at full health about 15 seconds after this fight started, and that just buys time for Sven to run all the way from base to eventually make it for the end of this fight.
And it's not like at any point during the game we never saw, you know, what WE were trying to do with this comp and how this comp can be pulled off, where the mid lane, you know, they're able to funnel them into a really small corridor for the equalizer, or the top lane where they're able to jump on the carries. They were just so far behind in gold at those points. It's a drop in the bucket.
Now, we got ahead of ourselves. We watched that final replay of the game. That was our Acer replay there, getting ahead of the Trick jungle, the jungle pathing that you wanted to take a look at. All his visitation to the lanes. We saw intelligent ganks into the top lane, taking advantage of 957 on that Rumble. So in general, it just looks like cleanliness out of G2. I mean, it's something that when we look at all these teams and go, hey, they're the #1 team in their region, you would expect, right? Just as we said with TSM, for example, who finished 5th in this tournament, that with a lead, they should know how to close it out. Well, G2 is displaying that. If you do give them a lead, they do know how to work with it.
And again, playing through lanes is a very different approach. On the Nunu, on the Ivern, it's a lot about the jungle battle. It's a lot about getting in the head of the enemy jungler. Of course, as Nunu, you're not coming in snowballing people and expecting kills. He played through lanes. He was camping lanes for a while. And the fact that he was being called to lanes is just a different style. So it's more of him accentuating good laning trades, accentuating good laning spacing to actually get lanes ahead rather than trying to make the plays in the enemy jungle and trying to be the battle ward that was failing in the group stage.
So I feel like Trick, being a frontliner in team fights, is where he's found the place for him to excel, and Olaf has good jungle routes that he's been able to take advantage of. I also feel like Team WE is playing with a whole bunch of panic, and G2 have very cool, calm, collected heads. The same way that they managed to make 3 comebacks in the group stage, they are still playing with that sense of calm and purpose, both in the draft and within the game, and I think that's the big difference.
All right, so game point here, match point for G2. On the flip side, WE's got to put together 3 wins. They've elected to go back to blue side. Also, this just in, Zero will be subbing in for Ben in that bot lane, so a little bit of a roster switch up. But on that blue side, Kobe, how do they mount the comeback?
I want to see more comfortable champions for them, right? Every single game that we've seen, or the first 2 games that we've seen here so far, there's been something that just seems out of place that they're, you know, not really fully practiced on. Maybe they practice a lot during the break and prepping, you know, new things to show here, but they have to go back to the basics because the new stuff's not working out.
Yeah, they're doing all these bans with taking Karma and Lulu and Ivor and mostly out of the picture. They need to make sure they get at least one of those. They need to put 957 on something he is comfortable with and won with before. And I think you have to ban Olaf. Trick has looked pretty bad on almost all of his picks. Even Graves, he's had bad games on and can't play a front line. And it is the tank line of G2 that I think is shining here. So ban Olaf, make Trick uncomfortable.
Now, Papa Smithy, G2's played 6 best-of-5s in their history as an organization. They've won all of them in 3-1 series. So are they going to break that trend here and get the 3-0, or will WE finally get it together and strike back?
Well, you remember, I was the one that flip-flopped on the G2 WE series.
That's
started
why
off
I came
with the
to
right
you.
prediction and then flip-flopped. And 3-1 is still looking like the likelihood. I don't know if they can stay in 3 games. I think Kobe's right, and that identity-wise, a lot of these drafts from WE have been some power in large places, some comfort in large places, but not really a team comp where you have, say, Olaf and then a Galio riding on him. It's been very much just power picks, pushing picks, but on the overall comp. So I just want to see them compositionally draft an identity in their last games. So if they go out drafting in this matter 3 games in a row, they're going to wonder how this tournament got away from them.
And what are they going to do about Perks? Perks was the one guy that we were shouting out for G2 at the beginning of the day, and my goodness, he is absolutely destroying.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the 1.1k damage per minute in Game 1 on the Victor. This time around in that final fight, getting that sweet ghost flank on for Syndra. I mean, this guy's out of control all of a
Perks
sudden.
has been taking over a lot of these games, as well as having the tank line to work with, right? When you have that front line, you need your back line to be doing the work, and Perks is consistently getting head and laning phase and finding the right flanks in all the team fights.
All right, well, it's looking good for G2 right now, so on the verge of a clean sweep. We're going to step away for a quick break. Don't touch that browser. You're watching the 2017 Midseason Invitational.
Condi is only level 2. The Dark Sphere comes down. Force of will not going to be able to save it. But here comes Expect. First blood to Perks. They lose a spin in the bottom lane. Somehow Mystic dies as well.
Nice.
Just as much on the spin. Flashes forward aggressively. Big burned alive. Exhausted to 957. Buys time. Here comes Trick with the undertow. With the hammer down. Ragnarok, remember. CC.
Rumble's now here. They're grouped up.
Condi's taking a lot of damage and shut down. Jet saves it onto Trick. He finally uses the Ragnarok. A 3-man stun from Perks by some time. From the flanking Syndra. This time it works. Manages to get a double kill with that force of will. Flash forward from Sven. Mystic is the target. Shia is the ace.
No. Nice.
G2 take down WE 2-0.
Nice.